A thought leader shows somebody a different perspective.
Right.
So there's a lot of business owners out there, especially solopreneurs, smaller consultative type businesses that are sitting back waiting for somebody to ask for their help.
Yeah.
When truthfully, you know more about how you can help someone than they know.
Hi, this is Sue Kirshner with Brand Strong Marketing, and I have a wonderful guest today on my show, Turbo Branding. As always, we are going to be talking about how to ignite your growth by leveraging the brand to scale faster, easier, and more successfully. But first, I want to introduce you to Erin Marcus. I think you're going to love what she has to say today. But instead of reading her bio and how amazing she is, I'm going to ask her to introduce herself because she knows her brand and how to tell her story better than anybody else. So take it away, Erin.
Awesome. I love it. I always tell people I will be on stage in front of 1,000 people, no problem, as long as you don't make me listen to the introduction, right? Nothing is more uncomfortable than hearing those things about yourself, right? But in the meantime, official, my name is Erin Marcus. I am the founder and CEO of Conquer Your Business. And I really do two main things. I help turn business operators into business owners. And I help thought leader experts create that personal brand out in front of a thriving business. And in both of those cases, the goal is to make a scalable growth model that gets you out of the way of the growth and instead being able to contribute and manage it.
Excellent. That's great. So, well, I can't wait for Erin to share her branding journey with us today. So let's jump right in. So you have built a very impressive brand. In fact, I'm a little envious.
I'm all excited because it's like, oh, and she actually knows what she's talking about.
I know, so but I'm a little envious in how you've been able to balance creating a brand for your business and a personal brand that really lets your authenticity and personality shine through. So, because a lot of people have a very hard time with that. They lean too far one way or the other, right? And miss out being their authentic self. So tell me, how important has the brand been to your business growth? Let's start with that.
Well, it's been absolutely key because I'm the same as everybody else. I didn't get this right out the gate. You probably couldn't have gotten it more wrong right out of the gate than what I did, right? Like, here's the deal. I come out of corporate. I had the big fancy corporate title. It was in financial services, so it was in conservative corporate. And yeah, I was a lot like, who are we kidding? The goofiness of me has never not been there, at least a little bit. But I was allowed to let my freak flag fly a little bit more than most. Then I had a franchise that was working with families with aging parents. So once again, soft, conservative, the brand was already there. So when I created my own business, that was what I had to go on. That was my experience in terms of branding that I came with. So I did what most of us who have no idea what we're doing do. I Googled things. I Googled things.
Good old Google.
I Googled things. And because I didn't know what else to Google, I Googled, what do different colors mean? Right? Started there, right? And I will be the first one to tell you, I've since, and you'll be happy to learn, your brand is not your color. That's not what that means. That's not what that means. But this is what I came up with. So I started with erinmarcus.com because I didn't have the name yet. And I paid somebody. I actually paid somebody because I have negative creative skills. It's not like Canva wasn't yet the tool that it is now, and I still can't do it. Like, this is not, like, I know what I'm not good at, and that's one of the things I'm not good at. So I did actually pay for this, and someone made me a logo for Erin Marcus. And it was a square that had my initials EM in capital letters, and the square had a blue and gray Paisley design. You guys have known me for a minute and a half, right? Like, this is not a secret.
Yes.
I come out of the pretty and pink era having never worn Paisley. Why did I think a blue and gray Paisley square was going to represent me in any way, shape, or form, even if we were looking at the corporate version of me. So I did it wrong. And then I want to know why I didn't make any money. Right? Why didn't I make any money that year? Who knew?
Why are people not understanding what I am? Right.
Right. Right. And it's this whole thing of I had decades of who I thought I needed to be. Even with my gregarious, even with my big mouth, like I still had decades of what I thought and who I thought I needed to be, what I needed to do in order to be, quote, a business owner. And none of those things were actually me. So it is, as much as it is an iteration, as much as it's a journey, more of that journey for me anyway has been letting go of the story as opposed to figuring out who I am. Like I already knew that. I'm pretty solid in my boundaries. I'm pretty solid in who I am. That's not a new thing for me. But I didn't think I was allowed to go be that thing. I didn't think I was allowed to go have that identity and be a successful, quote, business owner. And that was the problem.
Yeah. So what made you realize that you could be that thing?
Somebody told me, right? Mentors, right? Like you get, right? What did they, the best heart surgeon in the world can't operate on their own heart. You can't, writing your own stuff, it's so hard. And so I had mentors who helped me be a little more brave. And so the Conquer Your Business started out as Conquer the Conversation. So there's more iterations. I started out with Conquer the Conversation. I have a degree in journalism. I have an MBA in marketing. I really liked messaging and putting all that together. I wanted to do marketing plans. I wanted to do messaging for people. And so the business started out as Conquer the Conversation. I also have this background teaching financial planners how to sell long-term care insurance.
Oh,
so I have this really wonderful background in trying to teach financial planners how to sell a product they hate to people who don't want to talk about the problem. I have a background in communications, in multi-generational communication strategies. And I was even teaching that while I owned the franchise. I would teach how to, communicating with seniors is different than communicating with millennials and
right.
blah, 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 blah. So I had this background in communications, and I know I'm a bit direct, right? Go, go, go. So the conquer word I was excited about. So I kept the blue and great Paisley because it still hadn't figured that part out. And I came up with Conquer the Conversation. It was supposed to be about marketing and communication training. And then I found another mentor who said to me, do you really want to be in the middle of everybody's difficult conversation for the rest of your career?
Ooh, good question.
Great question. Because guess what the answer to that question was? No, no, I didn't. And then while that was happening, I was realizing the people who were coming to me for messaging work weren't ready for messaging because they didn't actually know what they did for a living. Like there were problems to solve before we got to messaging.
Exactly. Get that foundation down first.
Like, what are you offering and what are we charging for it? And I have an MBA. It's not like I didn't have the business background as well. So Conquer the Conversation turned into Conquer Your Business from those situations. And the brand, the emotion behind the brand was still the be in charge piece. The imagery behind, and I'm big into nature and I'm big into animals, like really, really big into nature and animals. So I knew I wanted an animal in the brand, right? I knew I wanted an animal in the imagery of the brand. And so I did all the looking up of that, of what my favorite ones were. Like it was really nothing more complicated than that. And it came up with a tiger. I came up with a tiger. And so for a long time, Conquer Your Business had a tiger in the logo. And there's still a bunch of stuff with like slash marks and earning your tiger stripes because we had fun with it, right? It fit me. It fit more of my personality that I was getting more comfortable having it be out in front of things. And we moved to like a burgundy color. And then the next iteration of the business was really when I started to bring team members in. And that's when we removed even the tiger imagery and we took burgundy and turned it red, and the red and the black. And my brand is all about empowerment. I want people to be in charge of their lives. Like that's the feeling that you get from me in any of our interactions is I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge of the decisions. I'm in charge of what I do, what I don't do. Like, people know this. So that's the feeling that I want. And the red and the black represent that. And the block colors represent that. And the very direct language that's not fluffy language represent that. And so it's really been a iterative process of getting braver. And the one time a bunch of stuff was ready to go live and I actually forgot. Thank God, because I was terrified to do the next iteration of something bolder. So it went live while I was busy doing something else. And all of a sudden this feedback, oh my God, I love the new stuff.
No.
I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about the new stuff.
Right.
The universe did that for my protection. And it's just been continuing. And here, to me, honestly, the key has been more about working on my inner work and letting the brand reflect it is really how that's happened, especially for a personal brand, right?
That's fantastic. And what I love about what you said too is, as you said, as practitioners, it's whether you're in marketing or not in marketing, it's so hard to look at yourself, not only to look at yourself objectively, but really to see yourself as others see you, right?
Oh God.
So I love that you had a variety of mentors.
Yeah.
Not only could help you grow your business, but could also reflect back on their perception of what you were telling them your brand was. And they'd be able to say, well, you're hitting the mark or you're not hitting the mark.
Oh, totally.
Like that. So
absolutely.
no, that was absolutely a great point to make in that. So, and I like what you also said about when you started to bring team members in. That was another point at which you maybe had to look at the brand and say, okay, are we really reflecting who we are now? Because now it's not just you, and I deal with a lot of clients where one of the biggest concerns the owner has as they start to scale is, how do I take the brand from me, even if it wasn't a personal brand, but still built on my personality, my values and all that? How do I take that and then infuse it throughout the whole organization?
And to me, I get it. Welcome to my directness, put your safety bubble on. It's bull. It's a lie. That when people, and having been through it,
yeah,
that is a story your subconscious tells you, your ego construct tells you. That's another version of, I can't do this because of that. It's not true. Here is how I do this. It's the most simple thing in the world. It's the most simple thing in the world.
Yes.
I tell everybody that I come across how amazing my team is. That's it.
Perfect.
That is it. It is that easy.
Yeah.
And then I continue to fire myself from all the different tasks. Right, buy back your time. When I had my last business working with families with aging parents, we had 15 people on the team.
Okay.
I had the most fun job. My job was to go around making sure everyone on the team was having a good time doing what they were doing. That was my job.
Awesome.
Like, I would show up at the big heavy move days and bring lunch.
Yeah.
I would go, like, that was my job, was to make sure everybody was good at their job. And the only difficulty, and you got to remember, we were working with seniors who were terrified, families who were in trauma. And I would be the person who would go on the consultation and sell the services, right?
Right.
So it's very personal.
Yeah.
And yet I did none of the work.
Right.
And the very easy peasy way, zero resistance, was to just tell the clients at that situation over and over again how amazing the team was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Karen is going to take care of you. She is there to answer the phone. She is always available. I am always all over the place. And you're going to like her better anyway.
Yeah.
She will help. Like, this is your ego getting in the way.
Right. No, I love that, because how many times have we seen with my clients, and maybe you've even seen it with some of yours, is they come in and they're like, Oh, well, why aren't you in the meetings? Well, I hired your firm because of you. I liked what you had to say.
I've never had that problem because I had it off in the beginning.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It just isn't there.
Yeah,
I
that's great
tell
advice.
people this is what I'm good at. The thing that in that business in particular, because we had different management running different parts of the business, I would tell people this is my role. This is what I'm really, really good at.
Yeah.
And this is what Patty's really good at. And this is what Karen's really good at. So the great news here is you have the people who are best at doing the thing, doing those things for you.
Mhm.
My job is to solve any problem that comes up.
Yeah.
If there is any problem at all, that's my job. So it's not that they hired me. They hire, and this is again, this is ego.
Mm-hmm.
People hired the outcome you offered.
Correct.
If you're too attached to it, you've created the situation that's made them too attached to it. If you talk like this from the beginning, like nobody expects Ray Kroc to flip their burger. We're talking billion-dollar companies here.
Right.
I know that Shaq didn't sew the shoes together. So why am I thinking any differently?
Right. Right.
You
Is
know,
it
are
because
there's some exceptions, sure, but 99.9% of this it's the lies we tell ourselves
yeah.
that keep us trapped.
And a little bit of fear too. You were talking
Oh,
about
lots of bits of fear.
you were talking about being brave earlier and courageous, and branding takes bravery because you have to plant a flag in the ground and say, this is who we are and this is what we do. And also, like you said, you have to come in and be brave enough to say, this is a we. This is a we solution we are delivering to you, not a me solution that I'm
Right.
delivering.
And if you believe that the product is better because it's the group of you doing it,
Yeah.
it makes it so much easier. Like it's so much easier to have amazing other people helping you. Like, I think what happens, this is why, one of the reasons I see this catching people,
Yeah.
especially in smaller businesses, is because they don't hire for this.
Right.
They hire, this is the way I phrase this, they hire task rabbits. They hire people, very nice people,
Yeah.
who do a certain task.
Right.
That doesn't remove the work, it just changes your work, right? So now you're managing the person instead of doing the work. That's the same amount of lift for you. What would happen in your business so no wonder you're worried about turning your client over to this person. You didn't hire someone to turn your client over to. You hired someone to check a box.
Right.
What if you hired instead for horsepower?
Yeah.
Hire for horsepower. Hire people who can propel you forward and be brave enough to not be the smartest person in the room on all sorts of topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then watch that problem just go away.
Yeah. No, that's incredible insight because you're right. It's a lot of times small business owners, and I've been in this situation myself too, where you play small, right? You go in and it's like, it's just me. I don't want to lie and say that I'm this big entity and we can do all these amazing things for you.
Right.
But
The end associates when there's, the
when there's
associates.
no associates,
Right.
exactly. But at the end of the day,
don't lie.
I still, even when I was a solopreneur, I still had team members. I still brought other people in, even if it was outside counsel to come in and say, hey, I'm stuck on this problem. Help me solve this problem for my client. You're still bringing more people in. So it's not wrong to play larger.
Do
and
not
to
lie.
say, I am able to provide this unique value to you because there's a team here, not just me.
We don't lie. Don't lie. I hate that. The end associates when the associate's a cat, right? Like, don't lie. We don't need to lie. There's no need for it. There's really no need for it.
My cat is a terrible employee.
That is
Exactly.
Never meets a deadline. Never meets a deadline.
Never, ever. So I'm going to shift focus a little bit here.
Sure.
And one of the services you offer your clients as part of your consulting is to help them build a power brand. As you say, it's to allow them to leverage their personal influence and build a scalable business. And for some of your clients, I've seen that you help them build this thought leadership platform where it is that marriage of it's a business, there's a team, there's a methodology and there's process behind it, but it's also a person who's kind of leading the brand. So let me ask you, what is the biggest mistake people make when they're starting to build a brand as they scale or build this thought leadership platform? How do you counsel your clients?
The couple things that I see that go wrong for people is one of the things I say is show up as a thought leader, not a vendor.
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and what I mean by that, and there's nothing wrong with vendors, but what I mean by that is a thought leader shows somebody a different perspective.
Right.
So there's a lot of business owners out there, especially solopreneurs, smaller consultative type businesses that are sitting back waiting for somebody to ask for their help.
Yeah.
When truthfully, you know more about how you can help someone than they know. I'll give you an example with like a CPA. You wouldn't think this with a CPA, right? But there is a magnificent amount of difference between a person who can file your taxes for you and a tax planner who understands what deductions to take, what's available. It's two different worlds.
Right.
So instead of just waiting for someone to say, hey, I need you to file my taxes, like H&R, there's no differentiation in that. Be a thought leader that says, hey, have you, in your marketing, in your branding, in your marketing, hey, have you thought of this? By the way, did you know that the tax code was literally in this country created for small business owners? It was literally created for small business owners. They're the ones with the most advantages. Are you taking advantage of all those advantages? The reason I can say that is I've helped people do that exact thing, right?
Right.
Like, that's why I know that. I didn't know that. They taught me that.
Yeah.
So the reason I call it a thought leader brand is use your marketing to help people think differently and imagine different possibilities than what they're already assuming, because they don't know. They don't know what you know. So number one is the mistake I see people make is not using their genius about their topic in their marketing in a way. This is why I love marketing. Marketing creates aha moments for people because it changes their perspective on what's possible.
Right.
Do that. And then the other reason I call it a thought leader personal brand is people buy from people they know, like, and trust more than ever before.
Right.
We know the people at the heads of the companies.
Yes.
Even the big companies, we know. Right? We know the guy in charge of Facebook. We know the guy in charge of Amazon. We know Apple. We know the people. And sometimes people choose not to buy because of that person.
Exactly.
And it only gets more intense at the small business level. So no matter what it is that you're doing, especially with AI tools right now, where everyone who's just depending on them all sounds the same.
Right.
People buy from people. So you need to include a little bit. You don't have to, like, I'm not in a woe is me marketing. People don't want to see your wounds. They want to learn from your scar. Like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
But you have to instill a little bit of you in how you show up so that people get to know, like, and trust you.
Correct.
And that is a credential in and of itself. Like, here's the weirdest thing, like, it's so frustrating because you can spend all this time and money trying to cultivate and curate your content. But I volunteer with owls and hawks right now. I used to volunteer at a wildlife rescue, and it didn't matter how fancy the curated content was. One picture of me looking like a hot mess with the baby possum, that's the one that everyone wants to see. And people will interact with me about that.
Yes.
And now they know me. It has nothing to do with what I do for a living.
No, but you humanized yourself and you took aspects of your personality and you put it out there. And that's what thought leaders do as well. It's not purely the intellectual, different thought frame of mind. It's also a little bit too about who's delivering it. Is the person delivering it credible? Because we've all run into people where they have a great message, but they start talking and you immediately shut it down because you either don't like them, don't like the way they look, they acted inappropriately at another meeting you went to or something like that, and you shut down the message. So you do have to have some of that humanization to create part of these thought leadership brands.
Well, and it also helps, it prevents a lot of unnecessary work.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I can show you enough of who I am in the marketing process, here's a perfect example. My colors are red and black. I have half my head shaved. I'm very direct. People who like to blame everyone else for every problem they have, those people do not call me. They don't call me.
Right.
Perpetual victims. And I don't mean like actual
Yeah,
perpetual victims who
right.
want
The
to
ones
blame
who
the
see
whole,
themselves.
right?
Yes.
They want to blame the whole world for every problem they have, and they have no personal responsibility. Like, they don't call me.
Right.
They don't like me, and I can't handle them.
Right. Right.
And then
That's
every now and then one slips through, and I'm like, how did we get here?
yeah, how did we get here? I
Why do
missed a
you
clue
like me?
somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
Why are you talking to me?
Right.
Yeah, it
Right.
makes my life so much easier.
Yeah. Right. You're pre-qualifying people based on the relationship before they even call you.
They are self-selecting out before we ever get.
Yes. Yes. No, I love that. I love that that's a mistake, is not to put a little bit of you into everything that you're doing. So, because you're right. Even if you're a service business, your brand is built on your people. It's delivered by your people. So do you have a handle on who is representing your company every day?
Well, let's look at some brand, local brands.
Yeah.
But big, we're in the Chicagoland area. And if you remember the Empire guy.
Yeah.
Even the biggest, like, look at Flo from, isn't she Geico?
Progressive.
Progressive. See,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I just know she's Flo from insurance.
Right.
And here's like Jake from State Farm.
Right.
Even though they're not the owner, it is effectively, and these people sign contracts when they become the face of the brand.
Right.
That they don't do other things while they're doing that.
Right. Exactly.
And they are personalizing a brand. Even the little Geico, the little lizard.
The lizard. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's a way to differentiate, number one. But number two, it's a way to personalize an impersonal company and service, which a lot of people perceive it to be impersonal. So you're right. No, that's awesome. So, all right, I've got another question for you, because I love asking.
And I have no opinions whatsoever.
Yeah, I love asking you questions, hearing your opinions. But in your entrepreneurial business, you talked about a little bit earlier in relation to the brand, but has your business pivoted or changed, or where are you going in the future? And what does that mean for your brand's evolution?
Well, I think this is really important, especially in the beginning.
Okay.
Right? My brand is iterated and my business is iterated with it. I don't consider anything I've done a pivot, because it hasn't been drastic enough to be a pivot.
Okay.
It's definitely iterated. The brand has gotten stronger. The messaging has gotten more dialed in. The emotion has always been the same once we got rid of the Paisley. That was just a misstep.
That's just the wrong emotion.
It was the wrong. I wish this wasn't a podcast. I have things with it. I'll give it to you for the thumbnail. It's that bad.
Yes.
What not to. You can just call it what not to do.
Yeah.
One of my mentors once gave me a compliment, because he goes, the best thing about you is you're willing to get on stage in front of everyone and say, just don't do what I did. You'll be ahead of the game. Like, seriously, don't do it that way. But in the beginning, if you are a mover and shaker, if you know you're going for broke, if you're trying to build a good thing, we're not talking hobby business here. We're talking like you're really trying to build a business.
Right.
Things will move fast if you listen to the market and you listen to yourself, because especially if this is new for you, you can grow very quickly out of your own comfort zone, right? You can,
yes.
Hopefully this is a good problem to have. So my business started with that messaging piece, right? And that was the talk that I used to give to get people in my world, is how do you put together a 30-second intro, magnetic messaging, right? My business has iterated because I've moved up the ladder with who I work with. I used to work with a lot of people who were just starting out as a business person.
Yeah.
And I really don't play in that space a lot anymore because of my background. That's not my genius zone. Can I do it? Yes. Is it my happy, happy, happy place? No, it isn't, because then I don't get to do, and we don't get to create a lot of the things that I love to create. There's amazing resources there, and it doesn't make those people bad or wrong. It's just, I'm not the best person for them.
Right.
I'm not the best person for them. So the brand and I and my services have iterated into moving up the ladder, down the sidewalk, I don't know what direction we're going, to people who really have their ball rolling. They are they're generating revenue. Like there's a very, very big difference between learning how do you generate revenue and
Correct.
like, okay, I have some, what do I do with it? These are two
Right.
different problems. And I'm really more in that second stage now.
Right.
And so everything is iterated together. And now, as I do this again, and I'm looking what's in the market, what's missing in the market, where is the gap that I can fill? What is the best way for me to deliver what I'm able to do for people? Like when I put all that together, what I'm coming up with, and marketing is testing, by the way, so we put feelers out
Right.
about this, and we talk to other human beings that are ideal clients without selling them anything to
Correct.
see if this is a good idea or not.
Validate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Betting our offer before we throw a bunch of money in behind it. I'm moving to frameworks and teaching people how to iterate on what I'm teaching them. I'm moving to, and this was a big thing for me, is showing people how to do it and let them walk away having it implemented instead of a big freaking list of what you need to do and nobody knows what to do with that list. It was a very big pet peeve of mine when I started in this industry. There's a million people who can give you a list of what to do.
Right.
You can Google what to do. You can chat GPT it even better at this point.
Yeah.
But how do you do it and how do you apply it to your own business and your unique skills in a way that not only gets you quick ROI, because the people I'm working with, they're generating revenue, but we're looking for fast growth, right? So we're putting this stuff together and we're doing it more truncated.
Okay.
They don't want to wait a year for ROI.
Yeah.
They don't want a year-long program for ROI. That's a different program. Ongoing mentorship is one thing.
Yeah.
But putting these frameworks, so I'm moving to, I'm very excited about this. I don't know if you can tell. Retreats and events and short-term intensive opportunities where they can start implementing right away.
Yes.
Where you learn how to do it and then I do it with you. So you have that quality product right out the gate.
Yep.
But you know how to iterate on it on your own as well.
Right.
And all the pieces are there.
Yeah. That's exciting. And yet the brand is still the same, right? The brand promise is still the same.
The brand is the same. The client avatar is elevated, but it's still the same. The victim-y people at all the levels still don't call me.
Yeah.
The energy, the emotion, the client avatar. The only thing that changed in the client avatar is like I added another 0 to how much money they're making.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing that's changed.
Okay.
Because those are my people.
Yeah. And that's great that you understand who your people are, because then as you talked about, the gift is in the magic's in the messaging. And the only way to put that magic there is to really truly understand who your ideal target market is. So what are their needs? And someone with an extra 0 at the end has different needs than someone who does not. And
I'll give you another differentiator that I just fully embrace. I'm not fancy.
Mm-hmm.
I've stayed at the Four Seasons. Don't get me wrong. It's very nice.
Huge fan.
Nothing beats a good room service pancake breakfast when you've got an early morning meeting. Like, don't get me wrong. I am not poo-pooing the luxury.
Yeah.
But I don't require luxury.
Yeah.
I require nature.
Yeah.
So as I'm putting together my retreat, I'm looking at a mountaintop bed and breakfast outside of Nashville.
Yeah.
Is it nice? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no chandeliers, okay?
Right.
There's no marble, right? There's no marble table and chandeliers.
Right.
There's waterfalls and fire pits.
Right.
If we go back to who my client avatar is, moving a business operator into a business owner, they are a service-based business. They are a subject matter person, right? Expert. You can have a person who is all those things and loves yachts and chandeliers in the Four Seasons. And you can have a person who is that and loves nature and hiking and that, right? It's very different brands.
Yeah.
Same outcome, different brands.
Yes.
And I'm able to do my best work when I'm immersed in the things that keep me energized.
Right.
So if I just stay in my lane, if you like the Four Seasons and the yacht, I have someone for you. She's amazing, right? But if you want to go on a hike, right?
Right. It appeals to different people. And those are the people who are going to rave about you and your brand and your retreats and tell others to go. And that's what you want. That is
yeah, and
exactly
you
what you
right. It goes back to the emotion of it. And now here's my current figure outer.
want. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to bring that side of my person
Yeah.
into my brand. My brand is because two things about me that are kind of not, they don't go together necessarily. They're not opposite, but I'm a street kid from Chicago, Gen X. Like every stereotype you're thinking from the 1980s, it was horrible. It was nuts. It was chaos. It was nuts. I was a professional juvenile delinquent. Like everything I have is leather and denim and right. I am not fluffy. That is me.
Yeah.
But I'm also the person who plays in the dirt, in the garden. Right. I'm both of those things.
Right.
So right now, as I work on my branding and iterating and making sure I'm as authentic as I can be,
Right.
I'm figuring out what are the visual representations of those things. What are the linguistic representations of marrying those two things?
Yeah. Oh, it's exciting. It's exciting.
That's
Yeah.
what we're doing.
No, I love it. I love everything that you said. And I just, I could keep talking to you all day because
One, because I keep talking, but also
marketing nerds, right?
Marketing nerds. Gotta love a
love this
marketing
stuff.
nerd.
Just talking about it and how you can use it to help, companies grow and how important the brand is and all that. So, but I want to respect your time and just say thank you so much for spending time with me today and sharing your brand stories and your insights. So, but if people want to work with you or, possibly be, at one of your nature retreats or something in the future and things like that, how can they find you?
To make it real easy for you, it's all at conqueryourbusiness.com. You can contact me. You can hit my socials. There's a free resources page. There's my podcast. It is all in one place at conqueryourbusiness.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I encourage everyone to please go check it out. And definitely, what's the name of your podcast? I want people to go
Ready
check out
yet?
your podcast. Yes, Ready Yet. So
Ready yet?
you'll find awesome insights there on building your business. But thank you so much, Erin. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all of you who've been listening. And I hope you've been inspired to ignite your growth by leveraging your brand.